Good morning. My name is Barbie, and I'm with my company is Jeannie's Designs. You can go to my website at www.jeanniebags.com, JeannieBags.com. Today, I am going to do a tutorial on the Tall Wallet by Sonar. So here's the pattern that you would need to purchase. I won't be giving out any measurements or anything like that would give away the pattern, but she has graciously said it was fine for me to do the pattern as a tutorial on YouTube. So here's one sample. This is pink cork, and on the inside we have card slots, an ID window. Sorry, my dogs are barking. And we have 2 pouches for receipts, cash. A checkbook would fit in here. I'm not sure anybody even carries a checkbook anymore. But then on the back, there is a zipper pocket for change or keys or whatever you want to put in there. But today, we are going to be making the black cork with the purple leopard. But this is actually a very nice one as well. Very pretty. Very pretty. I love this pearlized cork pink. And I do also do edge painting on all the edges, the raw edges, so that it looks more finished. It really makes a big difference. All right, so let's talk about our pieces. This is the zipper panel. I have gone ahead and just double-sided tape, put the zipper in on the back. I did make this because I'm using a number 5 zipper tape and a 5 pole. I did make the opening just about an 1/8 inch bigger than what the pattern piece calls for, just because I'm using a little bit bigger zipper. So, and then on the back, I've already marked where the magnetic snap is going to go, and we'll put those on here in a second. But that's the back with the zipper. This is the lining, waterproof canvas. This is a purple leopard, and it's from Fabric Therapy. It's absolutely beautiful fabric. I absolutely love it, of course. And here is our tab closure, and I've already marked where I'm going to put the magnetic snap there. And then here is one of the zipper panels. I've already put my ID tag on there. These come from, again, I said this in my previous videos, this is from Heartwood and Hide. They are located here near me near Tampa, Florida. So they are the highest quality tags that you can find, I believe. So whenever I need more, I just call her up, put my order in, and when they're ready, I go over and pick them up. And then I've already put the double-sided tape on my card slots, you can see here. So when we get ready to do those, and it's just a piece of double-sided tape below each slot, and then one about 1/4 inch from the top. And then here's the ID window. So we have a place for your driver's license or ID or whatever you have, and then there are more card slots here. And again, I've already put the double-sided tape and the tape for the ID window. Here is the ID window, and there's a hole it makes in the middle of it, just makes it easier to get on and off. And then I also put a piece of the lining behind, just makes it look prettier. So, and then for the card slots, I use landscape fabric. And oh my gosh, this stuff is thin, very thin. It does not fray. It doesn't stretch. The only thing you have to be careful with this is you cannot put a lighter near to it because it will light on fire pretty quickly. So these are, I have 2 sections of these. It comes in rolls at Home Depot. I actually stole my husband's out of the garage, so I'm using his roll. He'll have to buy some more when he needs it. All right, so that's all the pattern pieces. So one other thing I will mention is I cut all my pieces out on the Brother Scan and Cut. And I'm telling you, that makes things so much easier to do that. All right, so let's pull you in just a little tiny bit closer and focus on the sewing machine. I am using my Cellrite Fabricator today, and I am using Tex 45 thread from Saya Swags. I'm telling you, her thread is absolutely stunning, and it doesn't fray, and it works perfectly. I think she sells Tex 45 and Tex 70. I typically use Tex 45, but there's no reason I couldn't use Tex 70 as well. So she sells it at SiaSwagBags.com, and I'll link all these things in the description once I post this. All right. So let's first of all put on our, let's actually do our zipper first. So I'm just gonna sew around the zipper, and I am going to pull the threads to the back so you cannot see the back stitching on the front. So we'll do that first. And I am using a stitch length of 4. Pull that to the back. Sometimes it's easier if you use your stiletto. So pull that to the back. There we go. Move my zipper out of the way. And then I typically like to hold on to my threads when I'm done and cut them. That way I can remember which thread I need to pull to the back. So it is this one. It's hard for me to see it sometimes. There we go. There we go. So now we've got 4 threads here on the back, and I am just going to tie those off. Got caught in my zipper. And then burn those so that they don't come out. I'll usually tie them. I mean, some people will do it 3 or 4 times. Sometimes I just do it twice. But I think I'm going to do it just 3 times here. And then we'll cut it and burn it off. My stiletto is rolling everywhere. All right, so there we have it. You can see that. And here it is at the back. So there is no pocket. The Tall Wallet makes a pocket itself when it's all finished. So here I am just going to cut off my excess zipper on both ends, just so it's out of the seam allowance. And then I will burn that zipper tape just so it doesn't come loose. or start to fray. All right, there we go. So that is the zipper pocket finished. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ID window, and I'm going to take the tape off, and we'll put that plastic ID window in there and sew around that. I actually have several kinds of double-sided tape. My initial batch of tape I got from Sailrite.com, and it is super sticky, but it doesn't tear when you put it on. So this most recent double-sided tape I got from Weft and Warp, and it's just as sticky, and it tears easily, so you don't have to cut it with scissors every time. It's kind of very handy. All right, so I've got my ID window taped in there. You can see that, and now I'm just going to stitch around the box. Again, I will pull my threads to the back, so there's no back stitching on the front. I don't always do that, but if I have time and I think about it and just how much better it looks, I will do it. Okay, let's pull that one to the back first. Okay. Again, hold on to your threads so you know which one to pull. And we'll tie those off. Be sure to leave them long enough so you can get a good hold on them. Sometimes I forget that, and they're kind of short. Like this time, I think one of them is a little short. All right, let's cut that and burn that real quick. And there we have it. So you can see the stitching around the ID window. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to put the backing for the ID window. It goes just like this, and so it looks very pretty when you don't have your ID in there. I am actually just going to use some 3-in-1 glue, fabric glue, and glue that around. I had an extra piece of tape there. Okay. So we'll give that just a few minutes to dry, but that's what that looks like. Isn't that pretty? All right. So we've done that. We've done our zipper. I think next I will insert my, while that dries, I will insert my magnetic snap. I am using Rainbow Hardware. And I use the rivet snaps. I think they just look better, and they're a little more secure. That's what I think anyway. I think the other ones are fine. But I'm gonna put a hole where I marked on both my tab and on my back zipper panel. And then on the zipper panel, I like to put a little extra security behind the magnetic snap because it gets a lot of use. And there's only one layer of cork. So I'll either use a piece of Decaville Light or a piece of Decaville Heavy or a piece of Peltex or something that will keep it more secure. So I'll put the female portion on the bottom there. My Decaville piece. And then my, ooh, that's nickel. I gotta get another. So there's the magnetic snap on the back piece. And that's what it looks on the back. This, you won't be able to see this. All right, so let me grab, somehow I got a piece of nickel instead of a rainbow. And now we'll put the male portion. And actually, I am going to sew around this first before I put the magnetic snap on. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to sew around it. So I'll start at the top where you really won't be able to see it. The stitching, so you can back stitch there. And I'm just stitching a 1/4 or an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And you can stitch all the way around since we're using a rivet magnetic snap. Cut my threads. Burn them. All right, now we can put that on there. So I typically just choose the best looking side. This actually, to be the outer, they both look actually pretty good. So I'll put that on there. So that's that. And then I'll put the back on. And there we go. I'm going to take these over to the my rivet press real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've got both of those pressed in and secure. So that is done. The next thing I'll do before we go any further is I'm just going to attach the tab to the back part. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, let me see. I've marked where I'm going to put my front tab, and that is noted in the pattern. But you want to put it, I always have to check this, just 1 second. Yeah, you put it with the snap part up. Let me make sure, yeah, yep. I just put a small 1/4 inch double-sided tape there. Put it on the side. So Nicole at Sonar Patterns, has some video tutorials out there. She's very good at what she does. She primarily sews in cork, which is fabulous. It's a, you'd have to ask her where she gets all her cork from, but it's beautiful. She has beautiful stuff. All right, so let's put that on there, just right between those marks that you can find in the pattern. And there you go. So this is the back of the wallet. So the snap part is on the back. And then when we get it all sewn, this is what you'll see. So it'll end up looking something like this. Okay. All right. So we got that ready to go. So we really just need to do the card slots next. So we will start with that. Let me grab my landscaping fabric. This wallet actually, once you do it a couple times, the first time it obviously took me longer, but once you do it a few times, it goes together very quickly. And she tells you what the width of your landscaping fabric or whatever you decide to use. Some people have used really thin ribbon. Or some people have actually used, I think, I forget who it was, but somebody actually used waterproof canvas. That can become a little bit on the thick side. So I like this landscaping fabric. It's very sturdy and it holds really well and it's very thin. So I took off that bottom piece of tape and I'm putting the landscaping fabric up. And I am going to stitch right below that first slot. Cut off my threads. I do back stitch, otherwise we'd be here for about 5 hours. Tying off all our threads. So you can see that I stitch right below that bottom. And then the next thing I do, grab my credit card out of here, is to make sure that each slot is equal. You pull that down, put your credit card up to the top of the next card slot, and fold your fabric up. Pull that card out. Pull the next piece of tape that's once you get that, and once you do this a few times, you can do it in your sleep. But the first time I did it, I was like, huh? How are we doing that? So hold this down and then pull that next piece of tape off. And that's what you have. So you have your first card slot. So you can test it. And I would always recommend that you test it. It is a little bit too short. So before you sew that, let's do that again. It must have moved when I... There we go. That is better. All right. So let's test that again. I always recommend testing it because once it's sewn, it's sewn. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like. All right, so let's sew that on the front side with the landscaping fabric to the top. We will sew along that on the bottom of that second card slot. And then we will repeat this. There's, let me forget how many card slots. So pull that down. Put your card on to the top of that next slot. Fold your fabric up. Take your card out while you hold it. Whoops, I threw it on the floor. Take your piece of tape off. Let me grab that real quick. And let's just test that and make sure that's good. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to do that again. Pull it down. Put your card on there, close to that next one. Fold it up. Hold it while you take the piece of tape off. And get that secured. And then we will sew across that on the bottom of the slot. And let's just real quick test that. Oops, yeah. Okay, that's good. Pull that down. Put our card there. And you don't want to pull too tight, just tighten enough that it ends up being the right size for the card to go in there on a regular basis, in and out on a regular basis. Okay, I'm back. So I stopped the video because as all seamstresses, we make mistakes. And when I said make sure you check your card slots as you go, I had goofed and I had sewn one of them shut. So I just had to do one row stitching, rip that out and finish it. So we'll go over that. We'll do the next ones. But here's what it looks like in the back. And in the front, you have beautiful card slots. So I watched Nicole do this, and I thought it was an ingenious idea. She's a pretty smart cookie. Those card slots don't want to stay down. See how puffy they are? So she just put a piece of double-sided tape all the way down. It keeps them down. I used a 1/2 inch. I think she did too. And then when we go to, because this card slot is done, when we go to fold it up, it keeps the card slots together, which is fantastic. So we're just going to fold this wrong sides together. And you want to be pretty precise and get the edges to meet pretty good. We will do a little bit of trimming. So there you have it. There's our first card slots. I will go ahead and just put some double-sided tape on the edges here. I'll go ahead and do that now. Just to keep them together, so when we actually sew, it stays together. This is what I mean, that double-sided tape that you can just tear. It's fantastic. And my industrial machine doesn't really have any issues sewing through double-sided tape. Sometimes it gets kind of gunky and goopy, and I have to wipe it off with an alcohol wipe or some Goo Gone or oil or something. But it doesn't really mind it too bad. Although my domestic machine does not like it whatsoever. Although I heard somebody talking about Teflon needles recently. I haven't really checked into that. All right, so that's that. So now that's our card slot. And what I'm going to do is sew 1/8 of an inch on this folded side. And that really creates our cash pocket or, you know, checkbook pocket or receipt pocket, whatever you want to use it for. All right. One done. If you don't make any mistakes, the wallet comes together pretty quickly, but you know, I think we all know that mistakes happen. And I would say that 99.9% of them are fixable. All right, so there is our, it's kind of hard to see, but there is our stitch line right down the side. All right, so we can put that to the side and let's do our other card slots. So we're gonna work on these. There aren't as many on this side, so it'll be a little bit easier, but it's the exact same principle. Get your landscaping fabric and tear off that first piece of double-sided tape and fold that up just like that, and we're going to sew along underneath that card slot that's just above the ID window. And you know what, before I do that, hold on, I'm going to show you one other thing that is a good idea. Nope, can't do it. I'll tell you about it here in just 1 second. It's a good idea, and I think Nicole does do it. Sometimes she does, and sometimes she doesn't. It's not critical. That you do it, but I think it looks nice. So, all right. So what I'm talking about is this ID window here. Put a row, before you put this backing fabric on, put a row of, it's just false stitches so it matches the other card slots. But if you don't do it, it's not the end of the world. It all works just the same. All right, so we're going to pull that down. Same principle, we're going to put our card on there, go up to that next ID or card slot, fold our fabric up, take our card slot out, hold that in place, remove that tape, and tape that in place. Again, I am going to check that it is good. Oops. I'm making this look much harder than it is, really. Hold on. Okay, I was right. So we're just going to continue and finish these card slots. Fold that down. Put your card on up to the next window. Fold that up and hold it. And then we'll stitch across the bottom of that card slot. Double check our slots to make sure they're good. That one's good. Oh, this one is good. Just got a little tape there. That's good. That one's good. All right. So we'll do the next one. Fold the landscaping fabric down. Put our card on. Go up to the top of that next window, fold it up and attach it to the tape and sew underneath there. Things are flying on the floor. All right, and then we'll do the exact same thing. For this last one, although there's nothing to stitch, we will put the landscape fabric down, go put our card on about a 1/4 inch from the top here, fold that up, and then we will just tape that. It actually gets pretty secure when the whole wallet is done. And then the rest of this is just excess, which we will cut off. Again, let's test them all just to make sure we have our ID window that looks good. The next one is good. The next one is good. That is good. All right, they're all good. So we're going to do the same thing, that little Nicole trick at Sonar, just to hold those down. And then we'll go ahead and put some double-sided tape on these edges so that when we fold it, it will stay. So we can do our top stitching, and then we're about ready to put it all together. It really does go together pretty quickly when you don't mess up the card slots. But I'm telling you, I mean, I've done those card slots, I don't know how many times now. And I've had to rip 2 lines of stitching out. This is the second one that you saw me witness today. It happens. That's why it's really critical that you test to make sure you're not sewing over one of your card slots. Because it happens. All right, so we're going to fold that together. And we want to be pretty precise here, so we don't have to cut too much cork off. Trim too much cork off. Oh my goodness, that looks fantastic. Let me clean up my little space here. All right, so there is the ID window. Again, we're going to do 1/8 of an inch stitches here to create that slip pocket. Cut our threads. I don't know about where you are, but this is January 7th, and it is absolutely gorgeous here in Florida. 72 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. All right, so there is the stitching on the slip pocket. So both of our card slot pockets are done. We are ready to attach them to the lining. It's so exciting, isn't it? All right. So here is what they're going to look like. The raw edges are on the outside of the raw edges of the lining. And so your slip pockets where you sewed that 1/8 inch on both sides are on the inside. So I am going to, again, just put a little piece of double-sided tape on those 3 edges on each side. What do we do before double-sided tape? It's just the best thing. Glue is great too, but it just can be kind of messy, really. Some people just use Elmer's glue. I'm sure that works just as well. All right. So when you're looking at the wallet, and how she has this set up is that the ID slot is on the right side. So we're going to put that on the right side because our slip pocket is set up. But when you cut them out, you can cut them out any way you want to. If you prefer the ID window on the other side, just make sure you cut it correctly. And when you do your top stitching for your slip pocket, you can do it that way. All right, so let's get this on here pretty even. Perfect. All right, so that one's on there and you got your slip pocket. Let's do the other side. And we are almost done. I would highly recommend you go to sonar.com and purchase the pattern. She's got a bunch of other patterns that are just as great too. Another one she has is the passport wallet. I think it's called the Gallivanter wallet. I've made that too, and it's very, very nice. All right, let's put this on. Perfect. All right, so that's in place, and now all we need to do is connect the 2 pieces. And what you want to do is you want to place your lining piece with the card slot on the right, and it goes on the same side as the tab. I do actually use a little bit of glue here to glue these together. You want to make sure that when you're doing this, that you don't put any glue where your zipper pocket's going to be. I'll show you that in just a second. So you can see where I left, this is where your zipper pocket's going to be, but you want to glue everything else. And the measurement for the zipper pocket is in the pattern. So you'd have to have the pattern. All right, so let's just put this on here. The glue is a little bit forgiving, so you can, I like to get it on there in a certain spot and get it clipped so it doesn't move anywhere on me. And then all we have to do is do the top stitching and stitch a spot for the zipper pocket, and then we are done. It's just fantastic. I need just a hair more glue here, just so it stays in place. So because I'm new to YouTube, I would highly covet any comments that you have. I'm constantly going to be working on the camera angles. I know that's an issue right now, but it's what I have. But I'm going to be working on that, getting better angles so you can actually see what I'm doing, as opposed to me sewing it and then showing you. Okay. All right. So here we have it. I've got it clipped. And then I've got the interior clipped. So we're going to sew 1/8 of an inch, probably a little more than 1/8 of an inch around all edges. And then we will trim it up just so all the edges are matched. The one thing that I would tell you is on this edge, it's harder to obviously trim that edge, so that if you're gonna err on the side of getting anything even, make sure that edge is the most even. All right, let's do it. Go slow. There's no need to hurry. This is your final touch to the wallet. And then I do edge coat these because it has raw edges. It really makes a big difference with the edge coating. I showed you. And you want to double backspace over those slip pockets. You can kind of feel where they are, just to give it a little more stability. I don't know how familiar you guys are in sewing with cork, but I had just recently started sewing with cork, and I really like it. I like vinyl, I like waterproof canvas, but cork is actually a very gorgeous product. It's good for the environment too. I'm just gonna cut these off before I get to there. And it's very domestic friendly. Cork is very, in fact, this wallet can be done on a domestic machine. Cork is not as thick as vinyl or leather. Oh my goodness, we are done. There we go. Little cleanup to do. And edge coating to do. You got your zipper pocket back here for coins. And you have all your ID, or your ID slot, and all your credit card slots, your slip pockets. Wow. So there's a little cleanup I have to do, and then once I edge coat, I'll come back on and show you how it looks. It's just absolutely a great little wallet, very lightweight. But if you can see this, it will hold an awful lot. So if you carry a lot of cash, which I don't think most people do anymore, you could put a lot of cash in there. I still keep some receipts, so you could put a lot of receipts in there as well. So it's a gorgeous little wallet, thanks to Sonar, Nicole at Sonar. She is a great designer. So thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye-bye. One final thing I forgot to mention is you want to create that zipper pocket in the back. So you just put a row of stitches right above that slip pocket, and that creates the zipper pocket in the back. Otherwise, and it's fine if you want to leave it alone, but otherwise the zipper pocket goes through the entire wallet, and it probably can be hard to get to whatever you put in there. So that's all that is. Just a nice little row of stitches right there, and you can see it on the back here. And it creates that zipper pocket, so it doesn't go through the entire wallet. All right, and so what I did also was I did a lot of trim up while I had you paused. So you can see it looks really, really nice. And so the final step will just be to edge coat it. And I usually do two coats of base coat. Then I will do, and I'll probably use purple or black, but I'll do 2 color coats. And then I'll do 1 coat of either matte or glossy top coat. So it's quite the process. It dries pretty quickly. The more coats that are there, though, the longer it takes to dry. So once I'm finished, I let it dry for 24 hours before I touch it or, do anything with it. But it dries pretty quick. And I use that Giovanni's edge coat. All right. Once I'm done and I've edge coated, I'll come back and do another little quick video. Thanks. Bye-bye.